When you hear the names Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, what's the first thing that you think of? Well, that's an easy one. Those are the names of the Columbine killers. There are two high school boys that went through their school killing everybody and then themselves. But why did they do it? They had the same plan, both of them did, but they actually had very different motives for it. Now, for this, we are going to look specifically at Dylan Klebold more in depth. He was an average teenage boy who hated school, which everybody does, loved video games, and struggled with suicidal thoughts. So when you're getting to know Dylan, you need to first know that he was an average high school student and absolutely hated school. First, Dylan really didn't feel that he fit in with the kids at school. He was among the smartest students in his grade, but he was shy, so he didn't have very many friends. He loved technology, so he didn't exactly fit in with the average sporty guy at his school. There was a lot of those at Columbine High School. And this isolation that he felt caused him to grow an intense hatred for school. Now, this intense hatred for school led him to a boy named Eric Harris. He also intensely hated school, and they bonded over their hatred for school. And then they started hanging out outside of school, playing video games together, going bowling, getting lunch. They discovered that they had a lot more in common with each other. They both loved researching World War II and playing violent video games. Dylan and Eric would play video games together that involved shooting and killing. They were both interested in violence, particularly in Germany. Dylan Klebold would often be seen in public with his little friend wearing swastikas in American public. These boys would just casually Heil Hitler at each other while they were doing their activities, playing their games, going bowling, whatever. The video games they played involved a lot of shooting and killing, as I mentioned previously. They worked together to shoot and kill video game people all the time. Many people would argue that this is what inspired the boys to attack their school. Now, even though Dylan connected with Eric a lot, he still felt isolated and depressed. Yes, he had a friend that he could play video games and bond with over their hatred for school and their love for killing people, but he was still alone. So Dylan kept a journal, and he expressed in his journal that he was dealing with suicidal thoughts. Now, what's interesting about the boys' plan, they were going to go through their school, starting with the cafeteria, and they were going to go through their school, and they were going to kill everybody else, and then they would both kill themselves. Now, Eric his main motivation for this plan was to kill everybody else. He wanted to kill everybody in school, all the jocks, everyone who was ever mean to them, everyone he didn't fit in with, just everybody in his path. But Dylan's motivation was the suicide and the murder-suicide. So they planned to kill everybody in their path while going through the school and then killing themselves. And during their plotting, they made video games. They made videotapes of their plotting to be watched after the attack. In one of these videotapes, you can see Dylan said, "I hope we kill 250 of you." To be watched for the survivors. The survivors would watch that and be like, obviously, and everybody else. And then Eric compared the plan to his favorite video game that they would play all the time. So, the plan went down on April 20th, 1999. They began their attack on that day. It seemed right to them because it was Hitler's birthday and they loved all things German. According to Dylan's journal, he was ready to get this done, get through the plan, and then die. So, in conclusion, Dylan Klebold seemed to be the average kid but he was struggling to survive in his own mind. Klebold was isolated at school because he was shy and not a jock. This caused him to hate school, and that's what connected him to Eric Harris. Dylan Klebold played a lot of violent video games, and that may have influenced the plan to attack the school. Dylan was motivated he was most motivated by the end of the plan where they would both kill themselves, while Eric was most motivated by killing his classmates. And most school shootings that took place after this event were planned based off of the plan for this school shooting because of how successful they were. Thank you.